Welcome to the Stretch2Go Podcast. My name is Ian Ray, your host. Today I have Andy and Daisy. They are part of the Freet Footwear team out in North Yorkshire, England. Andy and Daisy, welcome to the Stretch2Go Podcast.
Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you. It's a delight to be on. Thank you, Ian.
Yes, pleasure is mine. So as fellow English people, how did barefoot shoes come about in your guys' life? Because there seems to be a growing and a pretty steady presence of people being in natural footwear. But what year did this all inception started as far as where Freet Footwear came in?
Yeah, we go back a few years, really, nearly 20. So we were at that crazy time when you had kind of a boom bust, really, with Vibram Five Fingers. And we're still in the UK, people saying, hey, barefoot shoes. Are those funny things with individual toe compartments? And so it's interesting that that's what people's perception is. Many people, particularly people who aren't really into or aren't into barefoot or natural movement yet, that their perception of that is such. So we kind of evolved from there and have been making shoes ever since, really, making barefoot shoes. We were pretty focused right from the start that we felt that this was something that wasn't going to be a boom or a bust. There was, for us, an undeniable logic to wanting to move more naturally. And we haven't varied our focus one tiny bit from there. You know, people have come and they've gone. Some have come and then made general footwear. Some have, done other things. But we've been very, very focused on quite simply making the best performance barefoot shoes that we can.
And is this, a way that you and your family, fell upon natural footwear? Or was it something like a story behind creating a footwear for your brand? Like, what was the origin and story behind Freet Footwear?
I was involved in footwear. My background is kind of military, a lot of sport, and obsessed with being on my feet and being active, really, from a very young age. A few years in the military when I was infantry and specialised in reconnaissance, so everything was very much on my feet. So footwear was really important. I'm kind of obsessed with it. Came out of the military and was fortunate enough to work in pretty much Britain's last footwear manufacturing business for outdoor footwear, and had, if you like, a pretty good apprenticeship in all aspects of the business, particularly the manufacturing side and the operational side, and then did a few other things, but always kind of around outdoor products and footwear. Looking around for my own business, someone gave me a pair of Five Fingers, and I then ran 10Ks in them the next day. Hurt like hell, the worst thing you could possibly do, but the penny dropped. And really, I'd gone full circle from very much traditional footwear, stiff, supportive footwear that you break your feet in as you're breaking the shoe in, and then just full circle to wanting to make natural footwear. And that's where our first product. I'll go and grab our first shoe in a minute and show you. But that's kind of that was the start of it. We kept our day jobs. We've never had a penny of investment in the business, and so we very much built it slowly. You know, we sort of looked around the back of the sofa for the first investment, cobbled together the last few pennies that we had, sent it off to some guy I'd met once, made our first 800 pairs. Quite a hideous shoe. I will show you in a moment. Well, it had a certain beauty to it. We and then kept our day jobs until we were able to move into it full time. So that's our, in a nutshell, 17 or 18 year journey.
And then where's the name Freet Footwear? What is the name behind that? What's the meaning?
Really, we were looking around for something that summed up freedom for feet. So we kind of put the two main words together, freedom and feet, and came up with a shorthand version, which is kind of nice in some ways. But when you phone someone, you say, yeah, I'm calling from Freet. They go, huh? Well, what's that? So it probably doesn't have that classic, 2-syllable word that everyone gets straight away. But we just loved the summary and what it means to us, really. So that's how we came about it.
It's interesting. Whenever I'm pretty a visual person, so whenever I look at brands or shoes, I look at logos first and the style, and obviously I see 2 footprints on the E, which is phenomenal. And then if that F is kind of that unique F, kind of care to explain what makes this F so unique, because that stands out from all the different brands that you have,
Yeah, it's a nice letter that we can use on its own. We can use as part of the 4 or 5 letters even, and then we can use it as the full kind of logo, Freedom for Feet. And I think we just like the laid back nature of the F. It's kind of in the heart of our DNA to, we've grown slowly. We haven't rushed at things. We haven't brought in investment. It's very much a close family unit. And hopefully Daisy would agree that we've always had, most of our time for family life and trying to be, quite chill, as well as obviously needing to pay the bills and deliver to the world what we passionately believe in, which is if you can move more naturally, you have a chance of moving on down that wellness journey a little bit more effectively. So I think the F for us, I don't know what you think, Daisy, kind of sums up that. It doesn't necessarily swap over from left foot to right foot. It sometimes it's on its back, sometimes it's the other way. So from that classic way, it's not amazing as something that goes on a shoe, but yeah, we quite like it, Daisy, don't we?
Yeah, it's kind of one of the core brand assets that, as you say, does help us stand out a bit as the market's growing and there's more and more kind of brands entering the scene. It's nice to have something kind of distinctive on our shoes.
Yeah.
I think he might have gone off now to get the first 4+1
so this
product.
Was,
here we go.
Ian, I've got to show you this, my friend.
Yes.
So this was what we came up with back in 2007 or something. So it was what we call our 4+1. So you kind of got 4 toes together here and then the big toe here. And actually, it's as ugly as sin, but it does make sense. It always made sense as a concept, because you've got that big toe that kind of works a little bit separately, and you've got to condition and strengthen around that to have good foot health. And these 4, in a way, they kind of follow each other a little bit more. You might disagree with that, but
no,
so
true.
to have a piece of footwear that is, essentially allows your toes to spread a bit, gives this chance for ultimate flexibility. It's flexible, thin, and it's really just a foot covering. It kind of works. There wasn't much grip here, so you didn't want to be going up a mountain. It was a little bit sweaty, but not waterproof. It kind of filled some of the, requirements. I think it took us about 4 years to sell 799 of them, and this is the last pair. The sizing was so awful on them that this was I think this was a 37 that fits like a 35, which is why it never sold. So the last pair didn't sell. So I've got it in our museum down the other side of the office. Anyway, I am waffling on, but
bear in mind, Freet started when I was about 15. So I was put in a pair of these 4+1s. I was one of the first guinea pigs, if you will. And honestly, back then, I can't say I was overly impressed. But kind of the older I've got and the more interested I've got in kind of my own holistic wellness, I started to just realize, well, what you preach, how important our feet are and how they're the foundation for everything. So that's when I really started to connect with what we do as a brand and what we stand for. And luckily, our products today are a lot more good looking than that first one.
We used to say to people, you can hike in these in the winter in the snow. You just got to hike quickly. And if you do that, because your foot's moving so much, you're honest, you'll be quite warm once you really get going. And Sarah and I, my wife and I, who founded the business back then, we used to, of course, have to do this. Mm-hmm. And we would convince ourselves in the middle of January on a 6-hour hike that our feet were okay, really. And they were getting all the benefits of the conditioning and strengthening, even though they were like flipping ice blocks. But yeah, we've come on a little way since then, hopefully.
So talk about your footwear. Let's kind of dive in as far as the collection that you guys have. I know before this, we were talking about the type of new models or collection that you have. But what What are some unique aspects about the Freet Footwear that's kind of differentiates from others in the marketplace?
We pride ourselves, whether we do it successfully or not, is for the market to assess. We do a deep dive on the whole footwear manufacturing thing. We go into it on a really kind of deep level, the whole supply chain, materials, technology, innovation, what's new, what can we create that's taking what's existing, taking it a little bit further. And we kind of break things down, quite analytically. So, for example, we have a range of outsoles that will take you from urban surfaces through trail, through hills, through mountain, and they're all designed and developed in-house and brought to market after much testing. And then the guts of our shoes are really the midsole. And, for example, this has pretty much no midsole in it, which is great in some circumstances because you've got that ultimate flexibility. But which is fine, that we have our soft flex, mid flex and firm flex. And really, that's part of our philosophy of a real deep dive into what a performance shoe should have, and depending on its requirement. So soft flex is fine if you're doing gym work or you're in an urban environment, but if you're on the trail, you may need a little bit more protection to the foot, but still flexibility. So that would be our mid flex series. And then firm flex is something that if you're on really serious off track terrain, up the mountain, off the trail, then you need, again, a little bit more protection, still flexibility. And so there's different materials, technology in that. That would be a textile midsole. That would be an example of our soft flex, and more of a board with a combination of fibers, just to give you a bit more protection, would be a mid flex. And then firm is a different technology as well, still flexibility, but you've got the protection. And then, we're really, really keen on our upper materials. So we've got everything we do has to start with sustainability. So we're using recycled materials, recycled coffee, literally the stuff in the pot. We dry it. We create mill it to a nanometer, a really tiny powder, add with some polyester to create a spinning fluid from which we make a shoe like our tanga, and that's literally made from recycled coffee. To bottle yarn, our bottle yarn series, which might be an open weave for more summer conditions, or even this is our new Arkan 2, which is a winter boot with a fleecy lining, nice and warm. But that starts with a recycled bottle yarn microfiber material, which is a close weave. So it's waterproof, a little bit breathable, recycled, doesn't absorb water, easy clean, quite waterproof. So it's a great material that we've kind of developed. So, it's deep dive into first premise of creating a shoe and then building it up, building blocks from there. So we range from summer sandals right through to, well, probably this fella, Arkan, and pretty much everything in between, but not a big range. We've always been keen to keep it tight. We always say if something doesn't quite work, we have to kind of take it outside, retire it. It can go and live in the pasture as retired Freet product, and we then can bring a new one in. But otherwise, you're just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. That's great that you guys have that sustainability for your footwear and, as a brand. That's because I think, you don't want to make too much and then not in that shoe not being able to, I don't know, reach the masses and of course not selling. So it's great. I love that, brands who have consistency and who have great, I would say like collections that sell pretty well throughout the year, that people are keen to buying it because it makes it a better quality shoe.
Yeah. No, I think that's something we're really keen on, is footwear that we can sell every day of the year, as opposed to just, we have obviously one or two products that are just summer, just winter, but generally speaking, they can sell all the time. And the other thing that's right at the heart of what we do is continuous improvement. I know that's a kind of a hackneyed business thing, but we're absolutely obsessed with Pretty much every production run that we do, we've changed some things. It may be under the bonnet improvements, but it's only ever a journey. We'll never get there, whatever the perfect shoe is. But I think it's important to have within your business. I'm sure you're the same, Ian. You just want to get up and be a little bit better than you were yesterday in what you're doing. It's hard. It's hard sometimes, but that's what drives us, I think, isn't it, Daisy? Really, that continuous improvement. And that's all aspects of the business, not just the product. You're just trying to be a little bit better and trying to look after your people a little bit better, whether that's your team or any other stakeholders, customers, and try and be as light touch on the environment as you can be. Try and not take too much and keep just trying to give, really.
Daisy, from your perspective, growing up in a business with your parents, how have you seen Freet Footwear grow from the time that you were a kid till now? I mean, what areas have you seen it expand and grow?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the most obvious thing is the product quality. We're a family business and we're also hands-on when it comes to testing the actual shoes. So we literally take them all over the world, see how they perform. So watching that product kind of improve from that first 4+1 up to recently we've just released, some hiking boots we are all so proud of and really feel like they're kind of hitting all the values that my dad's spoken about, but they're also making it so easy for people to transition into barefoot shoes. I think, as we were saying, this is one of our products here, my glamorous assistant showing us the chamois, which is one of our new walking boots. But I'm really proud of how kind of easy we've made it for people now to feel the benefits of barefoot shoes. Being barefoot shouldn't be having to kind of not have protection or not have warm feet. Now we've got products that feel like they give you the protection, but they also give you the freedom, that sort of perfect blend. So I'm really, really proud of that. I'm also proud of how our Freet community's grown. There's still some people who are back in those first shoes that are still wearing our shoes now and knowing all the different things and all the different things they've been able to sort of achieve in those shoes. We get incredible stories about someone doing an amazing trek or an amazing rowing across the Atlantic, all these incredible things that people are doing in our shoes. And it just makes you very, very proud to kind of see how the product has evolved to now allow people to perform at the level that they are.
Do you guys love some of the things that you're sharing with your customer base and your followers about the benefits of barefoot shoes? So if you want to name some things that you guys love to share and kind of educate clients about the benefits of why they should.
Totally. Yeah. So one of the things I love sharing is just how they've completely changed how my body feels, starting from the ground up. As you know, and as you kind of talk about, feet are truly the foundation of our bodies. And so when we let them move naturally, everything above them benefits, and you're giving your body that permission to move exactly the way it was designed to. And also I've really noticed, letting my feet move naturally means they strengthen them and my stability and my balance is so much better. And it makes such a huge difference, especially when I'm kind of hiking on uneven trails. I'm always so surprised with how much more stable I now feel on my feet. And then I can't not mention the comfort factor, especially when it comes to hiking. We got a lovely message recently from a Freet customer. She'd been hiking in the Alps and she said she'd been with a group, and after a really long day, everyone in her group was sort of peeling off these big stiff hiking boots, complaining about sore feet. And she told us, she was like, oh yeah, I kept my Freet hiking boots on. I went all the way to the airport and I flew home in them. And just to have testimonials like that, you just feel so proud, and it really kind of shows what the shoes are doing exactly what we intend, and that is for people to almost not even know they're on their feet. They're just able to go about their life, do incredible things with all the protection there, but all the freedom kind of in place as well.
Do you guys have some of the milestones that you guys have seen the business grow from inception till now currently? I know you guys mentioned newer models. I mean, obviously you're upgrading and testing it, but what other ways have you seen the business grow from 20 years ago to now?
Well, first thing I guess is going from no team, pretty much answering every email myself, I suppose, to then working with one person to where we are now with a team. It's still quite a small team. And there's really only kind of half a dozen of us in the core of the business because we outsource everything pretty much that we can, whether that's the operational side in the warehouses across the world or whether it's specific functions such as web, possibly even you could say marketing, although we're bringing that more in-house. So that, yeah, the team, the close-knit team, the hub, if you like, is the customer services people, marketing, sales, and management, finance. And then this kind of wider team, which is always, it's a challenge to manage in that way, but it's also a tremendous joy to manage in that way because you've got fellow business owners that you're working with. You're on a level playing field, and it's got to work both ways for it to be successful. So we've kind of pretty much from when we needed to move from one or two people, we've had a model whereby people work the hours that they need to work on a kind of we need this doing. Kind of do that on almost on a trusted basis. And on a day-to-day basis, we have very few people in the office. Sometimes 3, 4, 5. Sometimes more. Sometimes just my wife and I, really. And right from the start, it was very much based on finding good people that we could trust, giving them some clear direction, and letting them get on with it, and checking in every so often. And we've been let down very, very few on very, very few occasions, really. And, it's the old thing, isn't it? If you look after people well, then it repays you. And it's a damn sight more fun to be in business like that. So I don't know if you've seen that, Daisy. Daisy will join us full time from 1st of December, really, to run the sales and marketing side. But she's been involved, since she's tested these things.
Yeah, my background's a bit different. So I in the last 10 years, I've been working in London in the marketing and advertising industry. So I've been working, on clients from like banking to technology to health, while still, in my spare time, kind of advising and helping with Freet. So I am so, so excited come December to fully be in the business and just kind of help build and grow the like wonderful brand that my mum and dad have started all those years ago.
So I think it'd be interesting, maybe when we check in a year or 2 years here, see how things are progressing. The big challenge is now how we kind of scale this business, and we're keen to do that. We were sort of waiting to see whether Daisy might be interested. Absolutely no pressure whatsoever. It gives us an opportunity to look at how we take the business from here to very much the next level, and that will involve more structure within the business. So the challenges of trying to keep what's special within our culture of having fun and being trusting and all the rest of it, with obviously having a bit more, few more people and a bit more structure around it. And our hope is that Daisy will, once she's got her feet well and truly in under the table, then she can lead that next kind of phase of development.
Sure. So kind of piggybacking on this, we're kind of headed towards my closing remarks and questions, but like, where do you hope to see Freet in the next 5-10 years? I mean, do you hope to kind of transition to ownership and passing it on, because you've been doing this for 20 years and I'm sure you want to continue to be involved with Freet, but what's the oversight for Freet?
I think you put your finger on it. My absolute joy would be to bring Daisy in, along with Sarah, who's she is 50% owner of this business with me at the moment, and to be able to bring in and be involved, firstly in making sure Daisy's perfectly happy sales and marketing, and then in terms of managing the business. And then I'd love to be her product guy until one day she'll say, "Do you know what, Dad? You don't need to come in tomorrow." I'll go like, "Oh, really?" And then I'll go, "Oh, maybe I'll get out on the bike a bit more." But I'll certainly be a product guy for as long as she needs. Her mum will manage the financial and administration side of it. I think the vision, Daisy, I don't know if you agree, would be for you to then build a business out in the way that we as a family team think fit.
Yeah.
What would you add to that, Daisy?
No, exactly that. I think, we want to continue being a leader in performance barefoot shoes, but I think what we've started, we've only just begun. We're so excited to, take our expertise into the more mainstream hiking world. I think like the barefoot community is just growing and growing.
Yeah.
You've got people like Anya and people like Britt who are on social media, and people like
Wonderful.
yourself, Ian, who are doing such wonderful things and really growing the community, and kind of bringing in even a younger generation and people getting involved in barefoot shoes. So I think we want to kind of spread the message even more. And I'm really excited also to keep growing our own Freet community. I've been meeting these people at, trade shows and events for so many years, and the incredible stories and the wonderful people who all have such a shared joy of wellness and holistic well-being.
Yeah.
I really want to, have more in-person events and do things like hiking events and wellness events and just bring those people together. I think we're so lucky in the industry that we're in, that people do have that kind of, shared joy for wellness and, yeah. So it's an exciting time.
Yeah, we very much see ourselves as part of we're in the wellness business.
Mm-hmm.
We happen to make shoes that will help that journey in some ways, but yeah, I think that's an exciting aspect to it as well, the way that we can develop that community.
Yeah. So my last question to ask you guys is, where do you see, I mean, we kind of touched upon this, but where do you see the barefoot shoe industry, natural footwear, evolving in the future? Like I said, there's a lot of younger generation people starting to realize my foot is weak. My foot is giving me issues. What's causing it? So they're starting to look down, knowing that it's my footwear choice. So what do you guys see?
It's fascinating. It's fascinating time. We've had 60, 70 brands spring up making barefoot shoes in the last 2 or 3 years. Some of them, I hope they'll all thrive, but I think some will thrive, some won't. You've got some bigger companies sniffing around and looking to enter into the market. You've got the running thing going at the moment where you need carbon plates and 50 mil, or else you shouldn't, you can't go running. And you're seeing some of the science that's being done on that and the injuries that's causing, because obviously the foot becomes a weaker, unstable part of that whole mechanism. But if you want your personal best time, then, you're going to need that help, because it's going to spring you along and make you a bit quicker. So we kind of come in on that with the training. You should have some time during your week in a more barefoot style shoe to help counter the harm that's being done within that kind of footwear. But I think we're going to see as the whole thing grows, because for us, going back 20 years, there was such a logic and an inevitability. The way I put it, even at the time, really was someday all shoes will be made this way, and I don't know when that day will be. It might be in Daisy's time, but I think we'll still be a small, a tiny little drop in the footwear ocean for some time. But I think that it'll be interesting, new brands coming in, the big brands creating ranges maybe as part of their overall offering. And that will be interesting. It'll give us, I think it'll be, there's good and there's bad for us as a business. On the one hand, there'll be more interesting barefoot shoes, but on the other hand, there'll be more supply in the market. And I think that for us, I would imagine we'll keep doing what we're doing. We'll keep trying to do it better and better and see where we go.
Yeah, and I think there is, in terms of the industry growing, just overall the health industry, people are kind of looking at stripping it back and, eating cleaner and functional movement. It does feel like there's a natural place for minimalist footwear and barefoot footwear to kind of fit into that. And so I'm really excited to see how our industry does grow and, the kind of the fundamentals of what we're doing, we feel so passionately about, and just hope that can kind of transfer in what we're doing online and when we meet people and when we talk to people like you.
Yeah. Well, I'm really glad that, we're able to have this conversation, because, my story quickly is just, I came from injuries, being athletic and just not paying attention to what was causing that, the root cause. And that kind of led me down this path to finding about, footwear, natural footwear, and then of course later down fascia. And so like, I just find it so intriguing that there is a awakening, I guess, for most people learning about the fascia and of course even natural footwear. Like, okay, maybe there is something about it that we never were taught, that society's hasn't talked about, but it's there. We just are realizing that it's important. So I'm grateful that we could have this conversation on our podcast. Love to close off by having you guys share how people can reach out to you, how people can learn more about what Freet Footwear is doing. So if you want to share with the audience, email, a website, social media, any way really to just interact and be part of the community there. So go ahead.
Of course. Well, my email is daisy@freetbarefoot.com, and I welcome all feedback, any suggestions, anything over email. I love hearing from our customers. So do always drop me a line on there. Then our website is freetbarefoot.com. And then we're on Instagram @Freet Footwear.
Perfect. Andy, any closing notes before we sign off?
No, it's been a real joy meeting with you, Ian. Love what you're involved with the FST work, and keep up the good work.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, I've been privileged to be bringing this along in my FST work at the NFL game. So it's just trying to get that out there. It's awesome. It's been
brilliant.
Awesome.
Oh, that's great.
Top guy.
Well, thank you so much for having us. It's been so fun.
No problem. And hopefully we can do another part of this again sometime soon.
That would be
Sounds
great.
good to me.
Perfect.
Lovely.
Well,
All the best.
thank you guys for hopping on.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.